virtual economy. That's why I'm here for. Could you tell me why and what for you wrote this book before you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. We wrote it because we feel we're entering in a new age of the internet that is bringing profound transformation in the way that we will live our life. And therefore, if it changes the way we live our life, it changes the way we do business. So we wanted to help leaders and guide them in the virtual economy in this third age of the internet. This is why we wrote that book initially. Hi, I'm Jérémy. I'm the co-founder of Imagin3 Studio and the co-author of the book, The Virtual Economy. And today I'm here with the Integrator Media.
Jérémy, you are a man who wears many hats. You are an actor. Right now you are in a different stream of things. Tell us more about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Belgium, Central Europe, a pretty boring country. I mean, nothing changes a lot. You know, it's good. It's good. I have nothing to complain about. I had a very happy childhood, and it's a fantastic country. But nothing moves very much, right? And indeed, I didn't know you knew that, but indeed I was an actor when I was a kid. I started when I was 10, 11. I did that for 10 years. And then at the same time, I continued going to school, and I was still having a lot of fun in school. So I continued. I went to business school, and I did my first internship at Procter & Gamble in consumer goods, and I ended up starting my career at Unilever. I worked for Unilever for 5 years, leading some innovation projects in sales and marketing for ice cream brands, which was fantastic, working on Magnum, Ben & Jerry's, the big brands that everybody knows. And then I moved to Dubai here with my wife a bit more than 4 years ago now. And the day that I moved, I met Dado, which is the co-author of the book. Really, I landed in the morning, I met him in the evening, and there was directly a connection in what we wanted to bring and the change that we wanted to make in the world. We shared the same passion for digital innovation. So this is how I joined the company. We formed a friendship. I became, several years later, a partner in the company, and then we wrote The Virtual Economy together.
So you wrote The Virtual Economy together, Jérémy and Dado. Yeah. So where is Dado currently, and how did you meet him for this book?
So Dado lives in Belgium. He takes care of our Belgian office. We have operations in Belgium. Initially, we're a Belgian company, and we were brought here in 2016 with a large project with the Chalhoub Group. So Chalhoub is the leading luxury retailer in the Middle East. We came here to help them on their digital transformation, and after 2 years of the project, Chalhoub suggested that we stay in the region. They invested a bit in our company. We became a joint venture of Chalhoub. So we kept the 2 offices in Belgium and here in the Middle East. And Dado is managing the office in Belgium, has his family there. I know that deep down he would love to move to Dubai and live here in Dubai, but he's still in Belgium and living in Belgium.
Jérémy, this book is a very well-written book, I must say.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I have to ask you my first question on the concept of the book itself. Yeah. What is the concept of virtual economy all about, and how is the concept of virtual economy different from that of a digital economy?
It's a very good question. For us, the digital economy was all about building the infrastructure for the web. The virtual economy is about building experiences on top of that infrastructure. So in the digital economy, you will see the wave of e-commerce getting started. 30 years ago now, and now that, there are still some companies that don't have an e-commerce website, but it becomes very rare. Almost every single business has built an infrastructure online in the digital economy. The virtual economy is the summary of 3 things. The first thing is that you have a more immersive internet, and that includes technologies such as VR, such as AR, 3D. You see that it's really exploding in the last few years. The second thing is that we see a more decentralized internet, a lot of solutions that are blockchain empowered, blockchain based, specifically for loyalty, for what we call product passport to track the value chain. So a more decentralized internet. And the third thing that we notice is a more exponential internet with the rise of AI. And if you take a look at the last 5 years, 3D technologies, blockchain technologies, and AI has really exploded in being able to build experiences on top of the digital economy. And this is what we call the virtual economy. That offers many opportunities, of course, risks for businesses if they do not transform, but mostly many opportunities to create new revenue streams, new business models, to connect with customers better. So this is the main reason why we wrote this book, is to really help the leaders to first understand what the virtual economy is about, and second, have a clear guideline onto how they can get their business to enter the virtual economy and thrive for the next few years.
So virtual economy is mostly all about the future.
Yeah, it's about the future, but it's actually already started. I mean, if you think about it, you see AI articles about AI being written every day. Blockchain, a lot of companies, specifically in luxury, retail, logistics, have already implemented solutions. 3D, you see the investment that are made by Apple, by Meta, to actually put 3D at the center of everything we do. So yes, it's about preparing yourself for the future. It's already happening.
Yes, it's already happening. So, Chat GPT, everybody knows Chat GPT, right?
Of course.
So I have to ask you this question. The book mentions a 10-fold increase in IQ level of generative AI, Chat GPT. So what are the potential implications of this in the job market?
Yeah, it's a very important question that you're asking. So let me put a bit things into context. OpenAI started to develop ChatGPT. We know ChatGPT 3.5 is the one that was released in the market back in November 2022. And it was a good model, interesting. That's what everyone got very interested about the model. And what they did, what some scientists did, it's quite interesting. They put that model through an IQ test, similar to what humans have. And the result was 83 as an IQ. 83 is pretty average. I mean, it's able of doing basic reasoning, but the average human has an IQ of 100, so it's below that. Then they released GPT-4 a year and a half later, actually, between GPT-3 and GPT-4, and they ran the same IQ test, and the result was 142 IQ. So massive increase based on the baseline, almost twice the increase based on the baseline. That puts them in the 1% most intelligent, we cannot call it a human, but biggest intelligence in the world, right? So that raises many questions. What is GPT-5 going to be about? What if we 10x that in the next few years? Is the IQ level is not 140, 160, but it's 1,600, for example. What is going to be the impact? It would be just like if Einstein is trying to explain the relativity theory to a chicken, right? And we are the chicken, right? And the question is, will we understand what the AI is telling us? Will we understand the solutions that they are bringing to problems that we don't even know that we have, right? And then the second question is, will AI even be interested in interacting with us? Because are we really that interested in having conversations with chickens? No, we're not, because they're not able to answer, right? So that poses a lot of different questions on what is the future of humanity in a world where machines are getting extremely smart. And so therefore comes the impact on jobs. I think there is a short-term view and a long-term view. In the short term, I see it more as an opportunity than a threat. I mean, to be honest, I believe that people that are not using AI will be replaced by people that are using AI. It can lead to massive increase in productivity. It can help you automate all of the menial tasks that you don't really want to do, so you can focus on the value-adding tasks. Now, on the long run, there is a societal debate about how big of a space AI will take in society. And you have some people that are very optimistic and some people that are very pessimistic. Some people are very optimistic and say, hey, if AI replaces all of our jobs, it's gonna be fantastic. We're gonna be paid to do nothing and just enjoy our life. And some pessimistic people are gonna be like, yeah, no, if AI replaces us, we're not gonna be with any money left and we're just gonna be jobless at home with no money and no way to actually thrive. So I think it would be a very long debate to deep dive into those two theories. Both of them have value, to be honest. Both of them have value, but I think the reality will probably be in the middle. And let's focus right now on the short term for us as individuals in businesses in using AI as a productivity increase tool.
So I'll go with the optimistic view throughout this interview.
Yeah, great. That's good. That's also, if you noticed in the book, we're not completely oblivious to the risk, but we're more leaning towards an optimistic future.
Sure. So, Jérémy, the next one is, how do you see the transition of digital identities to something way more complex in the virtual world? Everybody has a digital identity.
Yeah.
What's the future of it like?
So, if you've noticed over the last few years, new generations of customers, maybe the Gen Z, the Gen Alpha, they are building a digital identity in a way that no other generation has done it before. When I was a kid, when I was growing up in high school, we started with the MySpaces, the MSN. But that was the very basic layer of digital identity. It was more or less a digital twin of who you were in real life. The new generations, they're going one step further. If you take a look at the platform like Roblox, for example, Roblox has 71 million daily active users. That's a massive number, 71 million daily active users. Users spend on average 2.5 hours per day on the platform. When you hear that, you understand that this is not just a game. This is a platform where they build social structures, where they meet with their friends, where they create, where they exchange information, topics of discussion, and this is where therefore they build their virtual identity. And that virtual identity has an impact on their real identity in the real world. That is what defines them. There has been even a study where they asked new generations of customers, what is the most important for you, your virtual identity or your physical identity? And a significant portion of the people that have answered said their virtual identity was more important than their physical identity. So if you know that, a lot of people that have kids that are playing Roblox are like, wow, I see this as a big risk. Yes, for sure, there needs to be some containment, but at the same time, this is how the world is moving forward. So as a business, what you need to ask yourself is, how am I serving the virtual identity of my customers? If I'm willing to attract more younger generations, how can I make sure that I serve the needs of their real identity, but also of their virtual self, of their virtual identity on those different platforms? Am I on Roblox? Am I interacting with them in the way that they want brands to interact with them? And a lot of brands are starting to understand that and to get into these worlds as well. But marketing is becoming more and more complex for brands, but that has been the case for the last 30 to 40 years, right? I mean, even 50 years ago, marketing was pretty simple. You had TV, more or less, you had radio, you had billboards, and that was it. If you take a look at the number of channels and ways to create engagement with customers today, it's absolutely massive.
So the book quotes, follow the kids, follow the developers, follow the money.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic quote to be inside when you read through it. It reflects the entire theme of what you're saying right now.
It does, and one thing that I would say is that follow the kids, follow the developers, follow the money is something that you can apply to any single wave of digital innovation in the past. It's always the kids that have moved first, the devs that have moved first, and where the big money was invested. That's how the internet started, that's how the mobile started, that's how the 5G technologies, all the Airbnbs, the Spotify of this world have started in the new business model. So it's a good proxy to take. What are the kids doing, where are the devs moving, and where is the big money flowing?
How is the virtual identity going to manifest in terms of educational and professional achievements? Where is it all going? See, educational profession, do we have to have it on and virtual identity?
Well, I think there are several aspects to education and professional achievements. It's one of the toughest industries, or we could call it, education is an industry. Let's call it an industry. It's one of the toughest industry to transform. Because it is highly regulated in most countries. You follow a path, and it's also a very touchy topic. What do we teach our kids, right? I mean, how do we teach our kids? But it's an industry that needs very deep transformation. And there, in several instances, in several ways. For example, I went to university, I got my college degree, and the one thing that they tell you when they give it to you is that don't lose it. If you lose it, it will be a nightmare to prove that you ever went to university. I was mind blown when they told me that. I was like, really? I mean, I've just studied for 5 years. You give me a piece of paper and you tell me if I lose this, it's just like I've never been to college, you know? So with blockchain technologies, you can absolutely solve that. And there are many universities that have now put their certificates on the blockchain to make sure that you have a trace at any point in time. Doesn't matter if you have the paperwork or not, that this person, this lady, this gentleman has been to that college, has been through that education process. So that's one thing, and therefore comes in the entire discussion of how do you collect your own data? How are you yourself owner of your own data? Because we can do this for certificates, but we can also do this for title deeds, for property ownership. And that would simplify a lot of the processes that we have and that are also contributing to your virtual identity. There is how you want yourself to be represented, but also everything that you own and what you have done in the past, right? So that is one aspect. The second aspect in the education industry is how are we taking advantage of the more immersive internet to teach our kids better. For generations and tens of thousands of years, education has gone this way. Some smart people write a book, you study this book, you're educated. It changed a bit 20 years ago. When I was in high school, I was, I think, the first generation that had Wikipedia come in while we were in high school, and that completely changed the way that we studied. Before, when we had some work to do, we went to the library, like most people did. You had those CDs where you had some programs that had a bit of knowledge, but so internet transformed completely the way that education was done. Now we're moving one step further in the virtual economy with more immersion, more 3D. What if we teach you an important battle of history, World War I, World War II, or anything else, by putting you in the space at the moment that it happened, just making you understand the sheer strategic decisions that have been made that have led to the world that we live in today. That would be an entire new way of teaching our kids and of changing the educational system that I believe is very much needed and would be much more fruitful than just studying the books and what's written in the books.
Lots of advancement and a lot of things to be understood before you move through these advancements of technology. Thank you so much, Jérémy, for joining me. Thank you
so much.